Hello YouTube and welcome back to this tutorial with Coding with Glen. So we finished off our last lecture, and in this tutorial we're going to be talking about the slicing thing. So what slicing does is like we are kind of like iterating within some sequence of character and then just outputting a certain features of the value. So this can happen with the list and of course with the strings. So let's just look at how we can do it in strings. So we're gonna just name here, put a name variable here. I'm gonna name it glen C here, that is me. And so we're gonna be printing that value. So just for the sake of using, let's just print it and see what happens. Glen C we're seeing. So with these sequence of characters, they hold indices for each and every value, for each and every character within the string, so we can access a single value like the same way we do with list. So we're going to be just putting one here and we're about to get the L. So the next thing we are going to do is introduce this colon thing, that just does the slicing here. It's actually lets us iterate to some extent of the list, specifying the start, the stop and the stop, like we explained in our last tutorial. If you had not seen that, you can check with the notes from our last lecture. So if we print this, we should see glen C. So what does is when we put a colon and don't specify another character after it, it's gonna be looping through to the end, starting from index 1. So it will start from 1 here up to the end of the list. So peradventure it happens that you want to actually end to some point in the list, you can specify right here. So what it does is it will start from 1 and end at 4 minus 1, that is index 3, because the list is always 0 base, so it recognizes the end of the list as -1. We always remove the -1 there. So if we print this, we should see a len, because there's 1, 2, 3, because you're saying 4 minus 1, 3. So another thing you might want to check is the -1. As we said, it will print the last value in the list. So as you can see, C here is being output. That's the simple thing about the slicing. Now slicing, simple as that. So what we need to be looking at right now, let's just remove this. You can keep it if you want. I'm just going to be introducing the keywords we talked about in our last tutorial, that is the start with and end with. Let me just introduce you to them. They're so easy. You can use this in anyhow when you are trying to specify a condition that is within your selection statement, the if one. So we're going to say if name, then you just place a dot here and you're able to see everything you can manipulate a string with. So we're just going to be using the start with here and put a G here so that we can check if the name string starts with the character G. So if it does, we're just going to print found it, and we should be able to see our string found is being printed because G exists in that. So let's just put an else statement here so that you can see the difference when we do not have it. So we're just going to say not found here. So let's say we put a Z here, we should see not found because letter Z is not in G. So another thing we might want to check is the end of the list. So we're gonna put C here and change our keyword to end with, so that we can check if our variable actually end with the C. And if you run this, we'll see found it because it's there. So let's peradventure put N here. It's going to return false, so we will find not found because N is not the last element. So another thing that you might want to use here is the upper and the lower and the capitalize, just to manipulate the casing of the letters. So let's just start off with the lower. With the lower here. Let's start off with the capitalize. In fact, let's capitalize our text here. So we're just gonna say with the string capitalizing. So what we should see here is gonna be found it in capital letters. So let's just put our C here for end with, so that our function returns true. So if we run this, as you can see, found is in capital letter as in the first letter. Sorry about that, I say everything capitalized, I mean the first letter. So it will capitalize the first letter. So this works hand in hand with the same keyword and function known as title. It will return again the same thing. So for the title, the only difference is everything that is there, for every wording that is going to be there, it's going to capitalize. So for found, it capitalize the F, for it capitalize the I. That's what title does. You might want to use this in your program. maybe you just have to know the right keyword to go. So there is also the low. So for this one, we're going to be using the name here. Let's just say dot low. For lower to be effective, we're just going to be having to change this to an uppercase so that we can see the effect actually. So if we run our program and bang, not found. And the reason why I'm saying not found is because, you know, the typing, the casing here has changed. Look here, we have a capital and this is a C. So these are whole different characters pointing to the different memory allocation. As you can see, you know, when you're dealing with the ASCII later on the keyboard, you know, they have the different integer representation. So we might want to do an upper here, oh, sorry about that, an upper here, so that we can capitalize it. So if we run this, it should now work, and we can see glen C. That means our C has been capitalized perfectly and successfully, and then our name has been put to low. As you can see here, we printed in capital, and now we're getting into low. So that's more like it. So we might want to also check if is upper here. There is a thing that we call is upper, just to check if it's in uppercase. So 2, it returns true. This is a boolean actually, so you might want to manipulate, run around through these things and check to see if it works for you. So thank you for joining this tutorial and working through. So the final thing, in fact, before we go, is the strip, as I promised, and the split. We just want to see how we can use this in a sentence. So we're gonna be removing this. Just for me, you can keep it if you want, and I'll just type it. I am a boy, and then we're gonna put trailing, and then we type our keywords strip here. So what strip does, it removes any white spaces or character sequences that are at the end, you know, and if we do not specify anything like we did here, it will actually do nothing. In fact we have no print here so that you can see the effect. And if we do that, there is nothing there that is happening. You see no effect to it. In fact, it happens. In fact, it does do an effect here. Let's just print without this, and you see that the slashing are many of the. So the strip actually did something here. I forgot I had put the strip already. And so when you do the strip here, it will actually remove those new line character sequences. So you can also, to some extent, if you have many character sequences that are there that you want to specify directly, you can put them in the strip and it will always work for you. If you run this, still works. So another thing we need to do is use the split here. So what split does is it actually splits our text whenever it reaches a specified, you know, condition. Maybe we want to split our characters whenever there is a white space. So we just have to do that dot split, then put a white space within our curly, not our curly but our quotes, and as you can see, it's turned into a list. So everything is now put into a list and then separated whenever a space is reached. So that's how you can manipulate these things. And maybe you want to turn a sequence of character into a list or something and see how you can iterate to it. So let's just do a 4 here and see what happens, just to make it all fun. For X in name, let's just print, sorry, let's just print the X here, and you should see the same thing being output one by one. So as you can see, now the list is being output as I am a boy. Now, simple as that. And thank you for joining YouTube, and I'll see you in the next tutorial as we go further with this thing. So thank you for reaching this far, and now you are healthy now with functions. You are healthy now with string manipulations. You are healthy, or you know, you can print variables, you can receive input. So I'll see you in the next level as we take you to the next level. And thank you for tuning in. Please remember to subscribe, and thank you. I'll see you in the next lecture.